CDPR issues a DMCA strike against a mod for Cyberpunk 2077. And a DMCA strike is effectively just an easy way to say, hey, if you don't remove this, we are suing you. And you probably don't want a multi-billion-dollar company suing you. And needless to say, people are talking about this, and the conversation is kind of wild, honestly. There are two sides. One, CDPR is doing everything in their right. Two, this is stupid. And, well, we're gonna look into this because, well, I honestly think the conversation is kind of fascinating. So, let's get into it. This is by Synthetic Not a Shill Potato, because obviously, CD Projekt Red has taken down Cyberpunk's 2077 VR mode via DMCA. This is due to modder Luke Ross locking the mod behind a $10 subscription. And the fact that this is $10 is obviously creating quite a big stir. Because if you know the modding community is... yeah, they're kind of communists for a lot of this, okay? A lot of people, the moment that you hear, oh, someone made a mod and is demanding that someone gets paid, or maybe there's an optional donation option for this, that's heresy. All mods should be for free because obviously everyone needs to give you their work, sweat, and efforts and toils for free. There are a lot of modders who, mod users, who unironically think like this. Because that's how mods started. It's at the beginning, all of them are free. The concept of paid mods did not exist even. And a lot of people are actually hacking and breaking the paid mods and putting them up for free because they really strongly believe that paid mods should never exist. Which is funny because these same people are being extremely happy about Bethesda selling you slop reskin Unity engine assets for, money in their current games. But that's a different story, I guess. CDPR reportedly asked Luke Ross to make the mod free. He refused and deleted it instead. And since this is synthetic, not a shill potato, obviously this is not a completely insanely a woeful summarization of the things that happened, because Sin Potato is no shill or corporate boot lover. No. He's a very fine guy, obviously. Luke generated 20k USD monthly from paid mods, which is absolutely insane. But yes, a lot of these people are making a lot of money from these mods. There are literally businesses and studios, by the way, cropping up that do create a good quality mods, except the Bard College and Skyrim, because that's garbage, or the Bounty Hunter mode in Starfield by the same guys, because it's fucking garbage. Okay, that one's just ass. In any case, and people are pretty mad. You can see it in the comment section. And here we have an official statement from the person who made the mod. And this is when it gets a little bit more spicy and interesting. I'd like to briefly address the discussion around the Cyberpunk VR mode created by Luke Ross. We have indeed issued a DMCA strike, as it was available as a paid mod only accessible to Patreon subscribers. This directly violates the fan content guidelines. We never allow monetization of our IP without our direct permission. So keep in mind, this is not about protecting their IP or anything because of this statement. So I just want to get this out clear. It's just the fact that there was no permission asked or granted about this situation, so CDPR is pissed about that. And or an agreement in place. We were in touch with Luke last week, informed him that he needs to make it free for everyone with optional donations or remove it. So CDPR demanded that someone who put time and effort into making something now gives it away for free. Actually very on point for modern day woke CDPR, but hey. We are big fans of mods, but we DMCA strike the ones that actually ask money for it to our games. Some of the work out there has been nothing short of amazing, including Luke's mod for Cyberpunk 2077. We'd be happy to see it return as a free release, however, making a profit from our IP in any form always requires permission from CDPR. Now, on its own, this is true. If you have a thing and someone's making money off of using your IP in that sense of a way that you are taking what is theirs and then just shaking it a little bit around and making money, is a valid point. But there is also a counter valid point to this, is the fact that when you buy a car and then it breaks and you go to a mechanic, you pay the mechanic. You're not paying the company who made the car because you're fixing the car, because they have nothing to do with it. And this kind of should be the same situation in some people's opinions, which I technically agree to, but this conversation is a little bit more complicated than that. And then we have the response from Luke Ross. This is the big one, okay? This is the big one. Thank you, Jan. I'm sorry, but I don't believe you are within your rights in demanding that my software needs to be free. Notice on the word software. It is not derivative work of a fan content. It supports a large number of games which were built upon different engines, and it contains absolutely zero codes or assets from your IP. Saying that it infringes your IP rights is equivalent to maintaining, for example, that Rivatunes violates game publishers' copyright because it intercepts the images the game is drawing on screen, and it processes them in order to overlay its statistics. And this is very interesting. If this guy actually is not going into the CDPR engine and using the engine to change things around, then CDPR actually can't DMCA strike him theoretically. This is the fun part. This is where it gets complex. Now, granted, is this true or not? I don't know, because this guy has made, well, from this tweet alone, it seems like a VR for multiple games that works outside. And the idea here is simple. That this guy technically is not creating a mod. He has created a cheat that injects its own code into the game, forcing the game to do different things. That his mod is not reliant on the actual game and its code, assets, or whatever. And if that is true, then technically CDPR, well, then he is right, because it's not a fan content, it's not derivative work, it is completely original work. But how true this is, we don't actually obviously know, because he's not gonna post his stuff online for everyone to use freely, as he should not if this is even remotely the case. But obviously people are pretty upset about this from all sides. But since this is Synth Potato's tweet, you know it's like, give everything for free. People should work for free. Oh, shut the fuck up, losers. There's absolutely no wrongdoing on CDPR's part. They are protecting their IP and were kind enough to give him opportunity. Oh, look at that. They were so kind to give him an opportunity, guys, to release for free. They gave him an opportunity to give his work out for free. Wow. I bet Benny Boy right here also gives his work out for free to everyone, because that would be awesome. All of his work, by the way, because selectively just giving some of your work for free kind of is stupid. Free without. Most companies would sue you for doing this. Most companies would, in fact, not sue you for doing this. Most companies, even big ginormous companies like, Blizzard, would not sue you for this. They would threaten you first, okay? Maybe Hasbro would send in the Pinkertons to, slightly threaten you, but, different things. He could have made Cyberpunk 1 free, respect CDPR wishes, and move on. Instead, he would rather take it down, which is crazy to me. Surely. Emerald Apple, one more of these losers. It is common terms of service in industry not to all monetization of mods for the game because it runs aloof with many third-party licenses for the game. He is lucky that CDPR. Shut up. Emerald Apple is just a moron. Shut up. None of this. None of this is factual in any sense. By the way, he simply could have made it free per CDPR's valid request, but he threw a temper tantrum. Well, she just said tantrum and took it down, which is completely valid to do. Needless to say, well, it's synthetic potato and his ilk, so it is what it is. But this is kind of a wild situation. Because if this dude actually is not using any of their IP, then this is actually closer to the situation, which actually is the interesting part, in my opinion, of, well, effectively, right to repair. If you have heard about this, right to repair is just the fact that a lot of companies are being scummy assholes, and this is, by the way, not for games, even though it also applies to games, I guess. But mostly for the most grievous offender of this is Apple. Apple wants you to only fix your shit for extremely bigger prices, overpriced, at their own shops and things like that, and they are making it impossible, effectively, for third parties to repair Apple items. This is the Right to Repair Act that people want, because, well, you buy an Apple product, you should be able to take it wherever you want for repairs, not only to an Apple place because they have a monopoly and then they overcharge you 10 times for the repair. That's how it should be, obviously. And this is kind of the same situation. If Luke Ross is saying the truth and all of his stuff is not actually using their engine, their code, their IP in that way, but it's more like a cheat engine that injects shit into it, then, it is actually a different story. Now, granted, it's just a funny situation. Nothing's gonna probably, mean anything here. CDPR Zul has always been the same for years, applying to all mods, blah, blah, blah. No one cares about the EULA. Even in court, EULAs do not sometimes get even if you accept terms and conditions, EULAs, or whatever type of bullshit you want to, sometimes in court that gets ignored because everyone knows no one's reading that garbage. In any case, the situation is interesting. Where do you stand on it? I personally think it's wild if that guy actually was making 20K from it, but hey, it is what it is. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye!